Sorry, this is the most
beautiful though.
It's gorgeous.
crazy podcast you've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's not.
Wow. Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, me and Alana have really special guests, so we're not going to have any back and forth between the two of us.
Yeah, so sorry that you don't have to sit here and listen for
to us
20
ramble.
minutes.
Because today we have literally almost half the cast of Oh Mary with us. Today we have Hannah Solow.
Hi.
Julian Manjerico.
There we go. Yes.
And Tony Macht.
Hello.
So today we're going to basically focus on what it's like to be an actor currently in a Broadway show, and what acting means to you and everything that you have done to get here. So please go down the line, tell me who you are again and what you do.
Hi, my name is Hannah Solow, looking directly into camera for those watching and listening. I am understudy to Mary Todd Lincoln and Mary's chaperone here at Oh Mary.
Work.
I'm nervous.
My name's Julian Manjerico. He, him. Someone didn't do pronoun. And
Did you ask us for that?
I didn't.
I did not, but please feel free.
Okay, you don't need to drag me immediately on the
I said-
podcast.
2025. That's part of the intro now.
I guess I just want to say, clearly backstage at some Broadway shows, there is tension, and you do have to sort of learn to live with that, especially when there's people that you're working with that you just don't get along with.
Yes.
Tension builds mountains. It's part of the show.
No, that's actually not one of the lines.
We're fighting. 10 minutes of
We're already fighting.
By the way, my name's Julian Manjerico, the boring part. And I'm the understudy to Mary's teacher and Mary's husband.
Hello, my name is Tony Macht. I play Mary's husband's assistant and Kyle.
Well, again, I want to thank you guys so much for being a part of our podcast. It's little now. Hopefully it will grow into something better down the road, but thank you guys so much.
Oh, I think that we should just start with like some questions that I have. When you guys first booked this show, what was it like? What was your audition process like? How did you find this? I mean, did you guys like go to an EPA? Was it through your agent? So I think you guys like can talk about your experience with that.
Because Hannah and Tony have been a part of the show for a while, and Julian's a more new addition.
Yeah, you can tell.
Who wants to go first?
I think I'll go first since I'm yeah. So I did, there's a thing called the Disney Showcase where every year Disney has people audition, and then last year it was like 22,000 applicants, and they picked 10 people to do a showcase where they kind of did 22,000.
Jesus Christ.
And they picked 10, which is like, that's not real, but I guess it was. And they did a mock pilot of a TV show, and then they had all of these agents and managers and casting directors come, and Henry Russell was one of them, and he flew all the way out to LA, watched the showcase. We talked after the showcase, and then I signed with a manager who is really good friends with Henry. Apparently they go and have brunch like every other week together, and he then brought me in for the replacement for the new understudy, and I went in and I booked it the same day. Henry moves very fast, which is fucking amazing. Like every audition that I've sent in, it's always been like either the same day or the day.
So you never had to sit and wait for 2 weeks being like, well, another lost one.
No, I know. For Henry, no. Which is like lovely.
I thought you auditioned for it once before that.
I did, yeah. I auditioned off Broadway too.
Oh, so
You're
you're
not telling
lying.
the whole story.
I
so
just
you're
want
a
to make
liar.
sure that we're getting the truth
Yeah.
here, as the point of the podcast is to help people know what's really going on, and you immediately lied.
Thank you for your
When
journalism.
are we going to talk about bullying? Oh, there it is. Did it work?
I guess it's sort of
yeah.
karma that your mic went out after you attacked both Tony and I.
So I auditioned off Broadway for the original production of it at the Lucille Hotel, and I was understudy. I auditioned to understudy. I didn't. No.
What happened?
I brought in props. I brought in an Abraham Lincoln hat. I brought in a scarf as John Wilkes Booth. Like, yeah, I fully brought in props, and like I did every scene the first time, and Sam went, let's try it again. Maybe not with the hat. Let's try
Oh my.
But Henry loved my enthusiasm and commitment. So I didn't get it that time. But once I saw the show and I was like, oh, that's the world, then I was able to lock into it pretty quickly and easily.
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, I got the audition through my agents, just like straight up through I went to graduate school at NYU. Okay.
Right.
Which, so then like, and I went there a little bit so I could get better agents, because I had been auditioning in New York and like kind of striking out for a couple of years, and so like I went there to get better at acting, but also to be like, okay, this is like seemingly a thing people do, like the Disney Showcase, to like get better representation. And so like I signed with these agents I really liked, and pretty quickly after I graduated, they sent me in for this play. It was supposed to be like, 12 weeks. And totally upfront, like, I guess spoilers for the show, but my part, you need to play piano. And so that's like something I can do. And that's just something that shrinks the applicant pool by like, so like 90%, you know what I mean? So whenever I see that on a breakdown, I'm like, oh my God, I actually have like somewhat of a shot at this, instead of just like the abyss of millions of people. And I remember it just like went really well in the room, and Cole was in the room, and I remember they saw my resume that I had been on At Home with Amy Sedaris, which they had also been on, and like I don't think we never even met when that happened, but I do think like me being part of something that they were part of that they liked was like a huge like almost like pre-screen or like vetting process like already done for them. So like I always cite like the piano playing and the fact that I had this other credit on there as like huge boosters as to why I even booked this job. And I got lucky basically. And like Julian, like I think I found out like maybe only like 5 days after or something like that. So it wasn't a ton of waiting around, and then been here ever since,
Stuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and what about you?
Great question. Let's take it back to the year 2012. No, maybe 15. I don't know time. Henry Russell Bergstein, the casting director of Oh Mary, and I were in a musical improv class together at the Upright Citizens Brigade. We performed on a musical improv team together called Baby Grand. It was fabulous. It was an era that was theater history, some might say. And since then, we've been friends. We've performed together. He's a lovely person and has been very kind to me in trying to help me succeed in this crazy world. So long story short, I actually saw a casting notice for Oh Mary on Playbill, and I thought, if Henry thinks I'm right for it, he's gonna bring me in. I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm just gonna see, because I know he knows me, and if he thinks I'm right, he'll bring me in. But it feels like something that's right for me. And so I got an audition to play Mary's chaperone off Broadway. I used wigs in my audition,
really?
self-tape, yeah, because I knew Cole really liked wigs, and so I sent it in. I was proud of it, and they were like, we really liked it, but we are gonna go with someone older. And they were like, would you be interested in understudying? And I had understudied a little bit on tour, and I was like, okay, like I just really wanted to work with Cole and Sam, so I was like, sure, I'll understudy. Went in for my audition, read like the Mary stuff with Cole and Sam and Henry, and I left being like, if I don't get this, I'll be so confused. I was just like, I feel like I'm so right for this, and like, to be honest, I don't know who else can do this as well as I can do that, and I don't feel like that often. And so it was like a really weird thing of just being like, no, I know that I can do this, and then here we are, and I thought there was going to be a time that I would never even perform in the show, because when we were going to do it for 12 weeks, it was like very unlikely that an understudy was ever going to go on.
Totally.
And so now it's like crazy to me that we're here and I've performed it multiple times and we've come, like, it's almost been 2 years.
Yeah.
Since you guys started.
Yeah.
Time at all. That's crazy. I say all the time, especially like just like doing miscellaneous shit for the show. I'm like, remember when we were only supposed to run for 11 weeks?
Yeah.
I said, remember when this was going to be done and we were like, oh, well, now we're all unemployed.
Crazy.
And what's really fascinating is because all three of you made your Broadway debut with this show. Not only it being like, oh, wow, this show, because this show became a big thing really fast, it feels like. Especially from downtown being like, okay, so you're selling out the Lord Tell. From, okay, now these big stars are all coming to see your show, to now, okay, now I'm making my Broadway debut. What was your Hannah and Tony, what was your feeling being like, okay, this little show from downtown is now what I'm going to make my Broadway debut? What was that like?
I'll say it felt really comfortable, actually, because I think we had so much confidence from the downtown run. Like, of course, we were nervous, like, oh, will this translate to a bigger stage and everything like that, and maybe bigger expectations, but like I think we were all like really confident. So like it felt really natural and amazing to make a debut with a show like this that we all loved and felt like. We felt like, I'll speak for myself, I guess, but like I felt like ownership in my little tiny sliver of the play. I felt like, yeah, I fucking created that character. Yeah. Like that's so amazing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, and no shade, but like making your Broadway debut and like as like one of the drunks and Iceman cometh, and it's like hundreds of people have played this part. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome too. But it felt like really easy, the transition, actually. So amazing.
I think it was funny the period of time when we didn't know we were going to Broadway, but there were all these rumors, and so it was almost this fear of like, wait, what if we actually don't go to Broadway? That'll be so embarrassing, because all of these people keep being like, wink wink, see you on Broadway, and we were all like, well, no, we haven't heard anything and no one's told us, so please, literally, like, we haven't gotten the email, please stop, we just like, we don't know what's gonna happen. And so it was almost like, oh my gosh, it's a relief that like the rumors were true when we found out. And I just remember we all like went out to the West Side Pier and we like separated and called our families. And it was like so cute. And then like went back to the show and we're like, okay, we're gonna go do the show here, but we still had, I don't even remember, like we had weeks and weeks.
Maybe a whole month even, yeah.
Right, where we were doing it at the Lortel, but knowing that we were going to go to Broadway. Sam always says to me, like, it's really insane, you know, that you made your Broadway debut and like you have your own dressing room and you're also making your Broadway debut as the titular role in the play. Like, you know that that's insane and never happens.
Like a big deal, you know.
Yeah, I'm always like, wait, what? And I actually can't fully comprehend it, because I think I would actually implode if I like actually thought about the weight of it. But I'm like, it's so crazy.
What does it feel like for you to be able to also make your Broadway debut, but differently because you're already coming into a pre-existing show?
I feel like, I think regularly of like, I look at all the shows on Broadway right now and I go, I can't, you know, sing 8 times a week. I can't dance 8 times a week, but like this show,
He's not being humble. That's really true.
I know, literally.
Yeah.
But like, it makes so much, it made so much sense that I'm like, this is a show that I feel like I can bring myself to, all the different parts of myself, and like just have fun. And it's a show that, thank God, the entire company is treating it like we're in a black box on a 3rd floor of like a weird theater, still like trying stuff out every night, instead of like Broadway, which I kind of had the pre-existing notion of, and it kind of still is in some shows, where it's like you show up, you hit your mark, you do your line, and that's it. But especially coming into a show that's already up and running, Sam let me just do whatever I wanted within reason of the character, but like just trying a new thing out every time I go on, and that's what I did. Like even when I made my Broadway debut, like it was amazing to just like be able to feel like not the weight of Broadway, and it's literally just feels like I'm performing in a community theater, but it's Broadway. Yeah.
But you sadly have to walk through Times Square to get to your community.
Absolutely. That was the thing that was different. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of like a good point of like what I was gonna ask, because it's like doing Broadway is hard, and like you said, you're singing, dancing 8 times a week, like that's exhausting, and like this is all of your Broadway debuts, so it's like, what from like your previous experience of doing like regional theater, of doing summer stock, have you kind of taken in order to like prep for that? Because that's like a really big shift to like do that many shows this many times, and even though you are not singing and dancing all the time, like this show is a lot, like it's heightened, it's fast paced, like there's so many elements to it that like even if you're not doing like the big Broadway spectacle of it all, it's still a big Broadway spectacle. So I would love to like hear from all of you on that.
Before this, I worked at Balthazar in Soho, which was a restaurant, still up and running. And
Currently, you can still eat there.
Yeah.
Did not close when you did.
And I never did like, I mean, I've done like regional stuff, but not for more than like a month or something. But I worked there for 2.5 years, and every table like starts the same, which I think is what every show starts the same. It's like, this show, Oh Mary, the script never changes. There's no improv, there's nothing. It stays the same every night. So I kind of copy and pasted what I learned from Balthazar, which is like, you show up, you greet the table, you get their appetizer, entree, dessert orders, which is what the script is. But you can play a different thing every time. So like, when I go onto the stage every night, whenever I'm on, I try and think of when I'm at Balthazar, and I'm like, how can I make it different from the last table and make it so personal and like unique and specific to the moment and to the truth of what's happening in the moment, which helps me just then not think of it as a routine and just be like, yeah, just bringing real breathing life onto the stage every time I'm on.
This is so like what you learned in your high school acting class, but it's true. It's like, if you just go back to the given circumstances, whenever you start to feel the like banality of doing a show 8 times a week, if you just literally are like committing to the world of the play, it is new every single night. Like, and that sounds so cheesy and like trite, but like that is the only way out, like, or the only way to get through, I guess, is like, and I mean, Conrad used to say when we were all like so excited about going to Broadway, and I remember when we were like doing our tech rehearsals, we were nervous, and he was like, it is just a theater, like it is just like every other theater you've ever performed in. There's just more seats, and you can't even see them, so it doesn't really matter once you're out there. You can still,
the black wall.
yeah, you can only see 5 rows in every theater, basically. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, when I get nervous, I just think there is a child performing in Annie right now, and we are doing the same
And they're also
job.
nervous. Yes.
Always.
Where it's like,
always.
if that child can go perform Annie right now, I can do this as well. But I guess for me, the big jump is that, especially as an understudy, I find that the show really consumes so much of my life in a way that I didn't anticipate. I am always thinking about the show. I'm always checking in with my voice and my body, and I think I didn't anticipate how much time that would take up of my day and my life. And when I did the tour of Oklahoma for a year, which I think was like actually really helpful in sort of training me for this. And also everyone hated us. Not everyone. A lot of people hated us. So by the end of it, it was like, whatever, like, fuck you. It was like punk rock, like, we're gonna do this show and it doesn't matter what you think, which I think is like an amazing lesson that I learned and has helped me so much as an understudy. But it did help me to do a show like 100 and something times, and now it's the challenge of like, how do I prepare myself to lead a show having not done it for 2 weeks, for 6 weeks, for
3
months. And how do I like maintain myself so that I'm ready to do it whenever I'm called on, which is like been a learning experience, I think.
And I mean, that kind of perfectly goes into the conversations about being an understudy. And like what you were saying, the preparation and being like, girl, you might not be able to go get a drink with your friends tonight because you might be on stage tomorrow.
Yeah, totally.
And having the mindset of having to constantly be ready for the show, but not having to always do the show every night. How, and Julian, please chime in. What do you do in the 3 months that you're not on, the 2 weeks that you're not on, especially on a play like Oh Mary, where the cast is small. It is a play. It's not a musical where like people are like, well, she ripped her ACL last week. Where like there is a possibility where you don't go on all the time. What do you do in that time between being on stage? Sorry, that was a long-winded question.
No, that's a good question. I think when I was on tour, I'm always referencing tour, but it was like a really huge, like formative experience for me. And I say tour in a weird way. I don't know how to say it any other way.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. But so when I was on tour, I played Gertie Cummings. And so I was on stage during the show, but I was also understudy to Aunt Eller and Ada Wanney, which is sort of an interesting other experience of I'm playing this role every night, and then sometimes I'm being asked to play another role, and I'm like watching someone play the role that I played that afternoon, which is like
My brain is split.
yeah, it was
You're like,
so bizarre.
No, it's not for me.
But it was like a great learning experience. But to be totally honest, like my role was like sort of small, so I could kind of like get away with going out with my friends on tour, and like I could go to the bar in Texas and have fun and know that the next day I'd be okay. And I think specifically with Mary, I am so constantly aware, and I would never want to let anyone down, and also like if the point of this podcast is to be honest, I feel like I don't have the luxury of failing, if that makes sense. Like I can't fail, and I would be responsible, and so I feel like not to say like no one is giving me grace, but yeah, like I can't show up and be like my voice isn't great today, like I have to be ready. And I think that takes up a lot of time. And also I think I saw Mary Kate, who was Elphaba for a year, and she said, like I just kind of said to my family and friends, like I'm just not going to be available for a year. And I kind of feel a little bit like that, where I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Girl,
I'm not
live
here.
at work.
Yeah, I live at work. You can find me in Times Square. And like that's kind of how it has to be. And I don't really go out. I don't drink anymore. I like am very aware of like my acid reflux and like all that stuff. But you see, like I don't know if you read Megan Hilty's New York Times like diary of her day to day, and she was like, I stop eating at 4:30. I don't talk after the show. I go home and I don't speak to anyone. And it's like,
it's the sacrifice that like you make for the art that you're doing.
Absolutely. And it's not you are at the theater from 7 to 10. It's way more hours than that.
So anyway, Julian, so close.
Okay. I also want to say really fast, you mentioned like you can't fail. In a way, I want to say you, Hannah, can't fail because you're so good. You literally cannot fail. I love you so much, and I just want to say that because even my favorite part is when you fail because that's also another part of like why I love Hannah.
Watching you fail.
Specify.
It's just like that's just you being human. You're being yourself. It's like I've never seen you fail because you can't. Like, thank you. I love you a lot.
Look at that. The tension's gone.
Yeah, the tension's gone. Did you see that? I was like, let me.
So actually, this
I was like, I'm bored. Let me say that.
So we need to talk about your performance last week.
my roles that I cover are very different from Mary. Holy hell. Like, if I tell Hannah every time she's on, I go, girl, I don't know how you fucking do it. Because it's like, it's literally like so much effort in singing and dancing even. And it's like, I totally like get how you're like regimented so much. And for me, I've realized that with these two roles, I don't really need to like do any prep for me day to day. So when I first joined, I was so regimented and I tried to be like an athlete and be like, no, just in case I have to be ready. And I was like sitting at home and just like waiting for a call that like never happened, like for months and months. Like I never had to go on. So I then came to the conclusion that like, I'm not my best when I'm that athlete waiting. Yeah. Like I'm my best when I'm going out and enjoying life and like hanging out with friends and then just like coming to the theater and feeling that like flowing of energy and not like isolation. Because then all that pressure for me personally is just going to build up and then it's just going to be like a mess on stage. Whereas like if I'm living off stage as much as I can, then I'll be living on stage and just carrying that like, oh yeah, that it's weight. Life. That free flowing energy with me, which is what I think as an understudy is a gift to give to performers that are doing it 8 times a week, where they're kind of used to similar choices and stuff. So as an understudy, you get to kind of breathe, a new take in every time you're on. So it gives like them something new and fresh to play with, when it's time.
And Tony, you not obviously being a podcast. Wow,
I am not a podcast.
You not being an understudy, but being a principal member in the cast and being in the show every night. How different is the show when these guys do get to go on when it's not?
It's super fun. I mean, it's exactly what Julian just said. Basically, it's like it truly does breathe new life into it, and like it does sometimes wake everyone up, I think, a little bit in like a really thrilling way. And yeah, and like this is so, again, obvious, but it's just fun because I hang out with these guys constantly. Mm-hmm. It's then just so fun to work with them because it's like, oh my God, right, you're like a genius actor. Like, and we normally are just making bits backstage, and then it's like, oh wait, you have like this tremendous depth of talent and character.
The other day I came upstairs just to find Julian standing in the middle of the hallway in a full dress, just being like, and I'm like, hey Julian, what are you doing? He's just like, I'm just waiting for Tony. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you need? No, I'm just fine. I'm like, okay. But that's like, it's so nice that you guys get to build that relationship upstairs.
I mean, like, talk about like, how the hell do you do something for 2 years? It's literally because we like each other, I think, or at least that's how I feel. Like if I didn't have 2 friends basically right here that I like really liked hanging out with, I don't know how people do it. You hear stories about these companies that hate each other, and I'm like, how is that possible? It must be miserable to go to work. And instead, like, we have so much fun that sometimes it's more fun backstage than performing for 900 people, even though that's like my lifelong dream. So that's interesting. And, I was going to say also, listening to Hannah talk specifically about like her role and like being on the moment's notice, having to carry the show, it just struck me that our parts are like the 2 most different, because I go every night, but I have like, 9 minutes on stage maybe for the whole show. And like, but it's every single day, and so that's like its own like challenge versus you, who's like either nothing or everything. I don't know. Just interesting. Yeah,
night and day.
Yeah,
but I love Broadway. I love Broadway for that reason.
Do you guys feel, because you guys have all had the like awesome opportunity to like work with so many different casts and people coming in and out of this show, so like kind of like as understudies and as like a principal actor in the show, like do you like what has changed like throughout that? You're jumping into different people like constantly all of the time. Like I would love to hear about that, if you have like specific stories of like, oh my God, I always did this like very specifically with like this one scene partner, and then I got a new scene partner, and whoa, did that story change.
So Mary's teacher falls in love with Mary, And
I said we'll put a spoiler alert before this episode.
And my favorite thing, because I've gotten, except Betty, but I've gotten to perform with like all of the Marys, and each.
Wait, you never did it with Betty?
No, I never did it with Betty. I know.
That's crazy.
I know. And I like and as her teacher, I was like, I look at each Mary when we're rehearsing or performing, and I'm like, what is it about you that I like fall in love with? And with Hannah, it's like she's like my best friend, so it's like I'm falling in love with her in that route. And then cut to like,
and with Hannah, it was so hard to find.
Yeah, I was like, where is it? I was like, is it? And then with Titus, but like as opposed to Titus, where it's like I'm just falling in love with Titus because it's Titus Burgess. You know, it's like sometimes it's that simple. Like it's been really cool to like feel everyone's vibes, especially the Marys. Like this past week rehearsing with Jinx, falling in love with her because she's just like dark and like sexy, and I'm like, and I feel like this like very young jovial teacher that's like seeing this dark side, and like I'm like, I want to explore that. Holy hell, like she's different, you know. So it's been really cool to like just play and feel everyone's like energy be so different, even when they're just standing there looking at you as their character. You're like, this is very, and because of Cole's writing, each version works as if it's the best version.
And I mean, I can comment just based on being like the third party. I don't live in the show every night, but I hear it every day. I hear all the differences and the changes. It's so fun how anybody can come into the show and the whole feeling of the scene could change, but like the through line is still there. The scene still means exactly the same, but how the peaks and the valleys can change and wherever it may sit.
It's basically the same thing Julian said, but it's just like whoever is Mary, it changes it just like affects everything. It, like that energy like then like touches every single person in like imperceptible ways, I think, and just like their inherent like essence or something. Like Gilpin was so like scary almost, and it was like so serious, and that's what made it funny. And then the play felt like a true like drama sometimes. With Titus, it's like, this is crazy. Like it is like this. It is always a little bit Titus Burgess. You know what I mean? In like a cool way, in like a fun way. And it's just like, again, it's just the strength of Cole's writing that one work can hold so many different styles almost. It's really exciting again, and like I think if the Mary hadn't changed, it would be boring. I'm so happy that like it has changed this many times. I'm so happy that when Hannah goes on, it's so exciting, and like the whole building is like buzzing a little bit. Like that's just a joy of this, you know.
From my personal experience, I can only speak to that. It's fun to sort of steal a little bit from each Mary, and I feel like there's maybe like one line from each person that I try to kind of like give a nod to them or like honor them in a certain way. And like there's little things where I just like always think of Betty at this one point where I'm like backstage with the curtain, and I try to like carry on Cole's legacy, I always say. So it's like fun to have new people to kind of watch and be like, oh, that's silly. Maybe I'll sort of like do something like that too. And fun to see everyone's different interpretations. It's kind of, to our earlier point, like no one thought that this would ever happen. So it's so fun to be like, whoa, what's gonna happen next? And then when it goes to a high school and we all see O. Mary Jr., it will be
I can't wait to see O. Mary Jr.
It's gonna be 10 minutes.
Yeah, they've cut everything out, and it's just like, hello, First Lady.
Can I bother? We only have you guys for a couple more minutes, but I really want to bother you guys about, because all of you have kind of lived not only in the theater world, but also you've all done TV, you've all done film.
Well, sure.
Sort of,
I've been cut.
But no, like we have a list of projects that all of you have done.
Shout it out, shout it out.
Tony, I have Dying for Sex, At Home with Amy Sedaris, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. How was it? How was
Listen
it?
to that
how was it
resume.
like, living life in theater, going to school for theater and stuff, but then also like the actor transition and be like, okay, I'm a theater actor, but now let me do film.
I am like 1,000% more comfortable in a theater is the real answer. And like it's just, we always talk about this all the time. It's like your whole life, you know, you get to do a million plays as like from ages, whatever, 6 to 30, right? And you get such limited time to really practice doing stuff on camera. So the difference for me is that I feel like 1,000,000,000,000 times more nervous and uncomfortable whenever I'm on set. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get better at it, basically. And like literally today it's also, the world is like more confusing and scary. Like today I was supposed to go to a table read, and like 2 hours before it was like, oh, the table read's canceled, by the way, for a movie. And it's just like, okay. And it's just
what
like,
now?
I feel it's like it just feels like it's almost intentionally trying to make me as nervous as possible. Whereas like in the theater world, I just like get it, like because I've had more time, and I do think like the stakes are lower because there's literally less money involved. So like people are like a little chiller. Everyone's doing it for the love of the game a little bit more than film and TV. Having said that, please, if you're a casting director, I'm available.
I'm available. Please email my agent.
Yeah. So that's basically that.
And Hannah, I have The Big Fib.
Yeah, that's right.
On Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus.
Streaming now.
Streaming now on Disney
and
Plus.
Love Life, which is also streaming on HBO. Oh.
Look for me. I was cut.
But like again with you, like having such a big life in theater, what was your transition? Being like, okay, let me do this film thing. What was it like for you to do film?
Love Life was like the first time I was on a big set, and it was so stressful and I was so nervous. And to be honest, I had sort of a weird experience where they were cutting my part as it was happening.
Oh, no.
And it was like one of those things where they were like, well, why would she be in the bathroom? And it was like, oh my God, I'm like watching them cut a few of my lines, and then I was like, are they gonna ask me to just leave? But they like let me do the scene, and then I literally was cut. But it was an interesting experience of like watching the two leads of the show improvising and having a good time, and watching it being like, oh no, that's the part of this that's probably really fun. And I would like to do that. I would like to do that part of this. Me entering the bathroom and washing my hands and being like, hey, and leaving is not the fun part of this. I think I'm excited for that part of filming, and I don't think I've like had that experience yet in my career where I've felt like fulfilled.
Yeah.
The Big Fib was fun because it was just characters, and it was like very silly, and I got to wear like silly costumes and do silly voices, which is what I like to do. But I'm like excited for all the casting directors listening to feel that like creative side of filming, because I think as a theater actor, you have that thing maybe in the back of your head where you're like, well, theater is like creative and filming is technical in a way. But I would hope that at some point that merges. I don't know. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, you're listing Julian's credits.
That's crazy.
Well, and then we have Julian, who was in A Man Called Otto.
With Tom Hanks.
And also was recently in the hit FX show Adults. So, same question. How has your life in theater coincided with your film career?
I definitely, those two parts are larger than life, which thank God, because A Man Called Otto was my first role out of school, and I lied my way onto the film set, and I was face to face with Tom Hanks, and then I was just like,
What did you specifically lie about? I'm just curious.
They said in the callback, so for that I played a clown. I played a clown that gets beat up by Tom Hanks in it. And for my audition, I spent $100 on a clown suit, clown makeup, a clown wig. I had 15 minutes before my shift at the Mexican restaurant that I was serving at, and I was on the French Mexican restaurant. And I was filming it, and I was shaking with so much anxiety because I was like, if I don't get this, what am I doing with my life? Because it really hit, like, to put clown makeup on and to look so stupid in the mirror. And then to film yourself for this movie, and then after, like, it was only like 8 months out of school, and I was being told no so many times, but I got hit with the first of, like, it's gonna be a long road, and I genuinely was like, just felt like a fool, basically, obviously, and just was like, what am I doing?
Fully
with my
dressed
life?
as a clown.
It was really dark that day. But then I got it, and in the callback, the director was like, so you're a professional clown? And then I went, quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, you name it, I do it. And I just lied my way on set. I did the first take, and then I said, I'm not really a clown, actually. But what was lovely was that
I'm not actually a clown.
was that, like, it was so not me. I was covered in makeup and a suit. I had hips. I don't have hips. It's a toothpick. And,
It's a toothpick.
It's a toothpick. And I was able to just, like, let go and just be as theatrical as I could be, because it wasn't real life. And my character was supposed to basically have, like, a panic attack, you know, getting beat up by Tom Hanks. So, like, the fact that, like, if I had to be, like, a subtle, like, suave person, I'd be shaking like a leaf. Like,
Yeah.
Thank God it worked out that way. And just, I'm glad that the parts that I've gotten and the parts that I continue to, like, do well on in film and TV are parts where I can show that theatrical side of myself. But I'm excited for the other side, the opposite, you know, subtle side of me that comes out sometimes.
And me and Tony can do that too. We both have a lot of range.
I can be really subtle.
And because it's the most recent, how was your experience filming on, like, adults and hearing the feedback from that show, and how?
I showed up. It was the last episode. It was episode 8, and it was after the entire cast, who were all my age, who also were, like, people like me who have, like, 1 or 2 credits to their names. And I'm so thankful that they didn't hire, like, stars and celebrities, which I feel like every TV show now is, like, the core of it is, like, these people with amazing careers who kind of, like, you know, I'm glad Adults is a show where it was giving a chance to people who are still, like, who still deserve it. Again, with 1 or 2 credits to their name. And so I showed up, and it was the last episode of the season, so the entire cast already became a family. And I show up, and I went, "Hey,
How y'all doing?"
And my character is supposed to be, like, so fucking crazy, and kind of, like, in the scenes that I'm in, I'm supposed to be, like, kind of like Mary in Oh Mary. Like, I'm supposed to be just, like, the craziest one, and they're reacting off of me from it. And so I was terrified to, like, command the space like that after they've all spent months together. But Nick Kroll was the director of my episode, and he truly was such, like, a father figure to, like, everyone, because it was all just people in our 20s just, like, filming a TV show, and he was the only, like, older person there. And he just, like, again, saw what I could do and just let me do it. And then once he unleashed that, I was able to just be free and just have so much fun. And that's what it was. Like, before every, I feel like this is a good tip for people in, like, comedies, filming comedies.
Welcome into the industry, please.
Right? But before every shoot day, I would watch, like, an hour of, like, Parks and Rec bloopers, of Office bloopers, of all those sitcom, like, multi-camera interview camera comedies, just watching them laugh with each other and have fun. And that's when the best takes came out. Because I feel like if I didn't go in with that mentality and I went in trying to be funny and to get it right, everyone would just be like, God, he's trying too hard. But I truly was able to just, like, have so much fun and just laugh so hard with all the cast while we were filming. So I think Trixie Mattel says it. It was like the first rule of comedy is if like you're having fun, then it's funny. Then the audience is having fun. So it was that. It was 2 weeks of that, and hopefully I get to return.
Speaking of being funny, Hannah.
Hey.
So, like, as people may or may not have known, you have become a viral icon.
Here we are.
Multiple times on the internet. For well, we could go see Boop.
Okay, play. That was really good.
Thank you. God, that was terrifying. And even recently, the Las Culturistas made an award named after that.
It was as if I won an Oscar, the amount of texts that I received.
Yeah. So I'm like, how does it feel? Like, did you even think that it would blow up the way that it did within, like, the theater? I would not even say just the theater community, the world.
The entire time I was fighting for IP rights for you. I was like,
know.
we gotta go.
We gotta get a lawyer.
We gotta copyright this. We gotta stamp this.
I don't know. Maybe it's too late for that, but I really had no idea. And RIP to Boop. We love you. We missed you, and we think of you daily. I like. When I'm posting, it's really to make myself laugh or to make my friends laugh. And I made that video in the dressing rooms here. And I think I even maybe like said it to you or something and was like, this is funny. Like, I just saw this thing and then just made the video and like posted it. I learned like a few years ago, just the internet's memory is so short that you just got to post and not care about it because you just don't know, and the next day you post another video and another video and another video. I've been posting videos for a long time, and anytime I've gone like crazy viral, it's been the one that I least expected it, and I made like a full music video that I was so proud of and spent days working on, hours, and that doesn't hit. But then something I filmed like in my dressing room or on the beach on a break when I was babysitting has like 5 million views. It's just like truly baffling to me. And there's a certain point where I'm like, oh, I'm scared now. It's actually too many people have seen it. I'm frightened, but the internet is the Wild West. I'm not like even good at it or well versed in it, I feel like. So I'm always just like, what's happening?
I think it is truly quite amazing how, because we have like theater TikTok and everything else. Mm-hmm. Like we have the viral influencers that's kind of what their zhuzh is. Mm-hmm. But like you also have the benefit of like fully like leading a Broadway play while also like making content.
It's crazy.
So like it's truly like people are literally like, well, I want to come see Oh Mary when Hannah's on because I love her. She's iconic. You've already made a name for yourself even beyond the theater space. But also like you get to be like, oh, also by the way, I'm leading this Broadway show,
which is so crazy. And I'm just like so moved by it, especially because like I said, I post to make myself laugh. So anytime someone stops me on the street and is like, oh my God, like your video is so funny, I'm always like, oh my God, like I'm so glad you thought it was funny because it's just amazing to me that other people care and like enjoy it, and it makes me feel so happy. I like if I was maybe more famous, it would be annoying to me, and I don't think I'm famous at all. But like when someone stops me on the street, I'm always like, wow, like that's cool that someone watched this and like actually liked it. I don't know. It's like maybe at some point I'll be annoyed by that, but I'm like genuinely very touched that people want to come see me in the show, especially after they were like, well, we liked your Boop video. I'm like, dang, okay, let's fucking go. And scroll back because there's some other good ones in there too.
The Nosferatu videos.
Thank
girl.
you.
Talk about it.
And that is for me.
I love the Nazi salute one. Like,
oh, okay. And it's anti, just to be clear.
Yeah, anti-Nazi. Sorry.
I have some, before we go, because thank you guys so much for being on the show again. I have some rapid fire questions I want to ask you. I said I want all of you guys to answer, but be short and brief.
Okay.
Quickly, what is one myth you heard about Broadway that is true or untrue?
Not true.
Ghosts. There's ghosts everywhere. True.
Oh my God! What is a myth that we heard about Broadway?
No, truly, take your time.
I
Rapid
think
fire.
my myth is that it's really serious, and most of the time, at least here, it's silly, goofy.
That everyone's a cunt. It's a myth.
True or not true?
It's not true.
Your fastest advice for young performers coming up, whether they be so young they're in elementary school or they just graduated college?
The more you live, the better of an actor you'll be.
Watch your self-tapes and take them seriously.
Do what brings you joy, and if it doesn't bring you joy anymore, that's okay, and you are allowed to recognize that and move on.
Okay, last question. What is something that you wish that we talked more about in the theater industry?
I'll get on my soapbox for a second. Wait, is this still rapid fire?
No, you can
take answer.
Short paragraph.
I'm just gonna bitch and moan.
Go for it.
This is our favorite thing to complain about. Like the amount of, I just said watch yourself tips and take them seriously, but that's the problem. When they ask you to learn so much material and then you get nothing, you get no feedback, no, even in the room or something or whatever, that sucks, and that's allowed to suck. What was it? What was the question?
What's something that you wish that we talked more about? So it's like mental health or
I wish there was some sort of regulation for how much they're allowed to ask you to learn, basically. And I think that needs to be some sort of discussion, or at least in regards to mental health, we should all be easy on ourselves in that regard.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, it's mental health for me.
Somebody help me.
Meta.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy. I mean, also if you're going through it and then you have to go on stage, and even if it's a comedy and you're fighting for your life, and then you go on stage in front of all these people, and it's amazing the pressures and the limits we're pushing our brains sometimes. I'm not regularly going on stage, and I can't imagine if I was as of right now, but just people that are dealing with mental health issues, and then they go out on stage and they are giving a part of themselves to the audience. I think that should be something that's a lot more appreciated. You showing the most vulnerable side of you, which, even though it's a comedy, sometimes comedy is the most vulnerable side of you, especially when you're a clown and you're embarrassing yourself every night in front of an audience. So yeah, just being more graceful to actors, because a lot of us are fighting for our lives.
And Hannah, something you wish that we talked about more in the industry?
To Julian's point, I am biased because I am an understudy, and I am on my soapbox about calling out culture, but I think we need to have a discussion around mental health and physical health, and that we are not superheroes. We are not immune to illness, to mental health issues, and we have to take care of ourselves, and the show must go on, but also the show will go on in another way. And you don't need to hurt yourself. You don't need to push yourself. I had an experience where I went on really, really sick when I was on tour, and I barfed between scenes and did that whole thing. And I said, I am never doing this again. It is not worth it to me. And I feel like I needed that experience to learn that lesson. But I think we just all need to take care of each other, and the show will go on. And also, as audience members, you are paying to see the show. The whole celebrity thing is a whole other conversation. Catch us in another episode. But, everyone's working really, really hard to put on the show for you and give you the best experience that you can have. And that has to happen 8 times a week.
Yeah.
Anyways, I could go on. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
No, well, thank you. Well, no, I think that's great advice. And I think that literally the whole point of this podcast is to realize, and for people to hear the ins and outs about theater that you might not hear or that you will only learn from experience. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for
And
having
thank you
us.
for quickly tell everybody where they can find you if you want them to find you. If you don't, well then, disappear.
Find me on Instagram at toners889.
You can find me on Instagram at J Manjerico. Good luck spelling it.
You can find me online at Baby Magoo. That's Baby MCGOO. We'll never change it. And please come see Oh Mary on September 9th and 10th when I will be playing Mary.
Scheduled
dates.
And you can always find me at Darion Matthews on Darion Matthews Everything.
And I'm Alana Knobel with a K. Thank you so much.
And you can find us at Into the Industry
Into the
podcast
Industry.
on everything, on YouTube, on Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and also on Instagram.
And TikTok. Did you say TikTok?
Oh, and TikTok. And on the TikTok. Thank you so much.
Can you guys sing a song? I know you can.
Into the industry.
Oh my gosh.
And have a lovely night. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.